Hi, I am Lynn with Martin Ulisse Imports, and I am here with San Hovland at East End Wines. And first of all, thanks so much for joining us and letting us come into this wonderful little wine shop.
Oh, our pleasure.
Tell me a little bit about it. I know that when you all first started, just having it in this house was really cool. So.
Yeah, the family, Matt Miller, my old friend from when I had worked at the Austin Wine Merchant in the late 90s. I left the Austin Wine Merchant right before Matt Miller started working there as a delivery driver in 2000. And I had gone to work as the sommelier at the Headliners Club, and he would deliver the wines from the Austin Wine Merchant to the club. And so we had become friends. Then he went and worked at Central Market for many years, and he had been working at Westwood Liquors for a bit. His parents were looking to have a investment property in Austin, and it was right when he was ready to
branch out on his own.
do a project and have a retail wine shop. And they had found the place where they were about to give up in August of 2009, and came back from a vacation. Their realtor had found this spot. It was being used as just like the offices for the real estate company that held it. They were able to nab it when it was in the down market, and people were viewing this neighborhood as dubious. So we got in kind of on the ground floor, and really came in and restored these immaculate floors that are long leaf yellow pine from the 1880s when the house was built. Put in all of our shelving that's throughout the shop that I think really displays the wine really well. And then I had left working full-time in restaurant and was back doing some retail as well. I was working at Twin Liquors and on their wine committee, and he invited me over to see the new spot, and I was like, oh, well, that's awesome. But it was actually to pitch me the position of being the wine buyer right before we opened. So.
Well,
I
it's
fell in love
beautiful.
with it. Yeah.
It's beautiful, and the neat thing over here on the east side of town, this whole east side has really, in the last several years, changed a lot. And I know that when you guys were one of the first ones over here, just sort of, it has a whole different vibe and feel now, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and it's it's these beautiful buildings, and we really set up as far as the pricing went, the length and breadth of things that we have. We really want to make sure to be supported, by the neighborhood and have everything be affordable. So, since we opened, the median price in the shop has been well under $20 for all the wines. We only have about 100 wines that are over $35. There's only one wine that's over $100, and that's still a spectacular deal for what it is.
Well, and that's one of the things that I had always noticed is that you could come in here, you have the way you select the wines and do that, but you have such a variety, and you can come in here and they are affordable. And so you learn about wine, and you guys, because of your background, have that, and I think that's a great thing to bring, because there's not very many wine shops that I see that a lot of times.
Right, and it's a lot of work on our side, but I think people really appreciate the fact that they can come in and see things that they haven't seen anywhere else, and that's how we had initially started working with Ulisse. Lots of small importers are exactly the kind of people that we want to deal with, that other large retailers who we can't go toe-to-toe with, let alone in the amount of inventory that we're carrying, even just for the space that we have to store backstock. Everything we have is on the shelf. We're using just-in-time ordering, but we've got about 800 labels at any given time, but we use 50 distributors to do that. So well,
you certainly have the following, because indicative of the wine tastings that you have here, I believe every Friday, correct?
Yeah, every Friday from 4 to 8 we do a free wine tasting, and it's usually going to be a single distributor, and we try to make the tastings always be thematic, so that especially for neighborhood people, if they're coming every Friday and trying something out and then getting a bottle and staying and having some food from Three Little Pigs on the back patio, they're going to learn over time and week by week, because we're going to be examining a particular varietal or examining a particular region, or having a kind of cross.
So they get their little mini education every week, and they know that they can come and taste them from wines and actually be able to afford them. And
Exactly.
take them out to the patio, or?
Yeah, and we try to always make the wines at the tastings, kind of reflective of the norm of the pricings at the shop. So usually the wines are in the, $10, $12, $15 range. Sometimes they'll be $25 or $30, but it's rare that we go, very much higher than that, so that we're not, showing something that's not really
Right.
our bread and butter as well.
Well, I know that you've done for me a few times I've come in here, and I might know a lot about my Italian wines, but
Sure.
I'm like, okay, for this amount, I want you to pick these many wines for me, and they're always affordable and they're amazing. So you do a wonderful job with that.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about Three Little Pigs.
Three Little Pigs is Raymond Tatum's food trailer. He used to be the executive chef at Jeffrey's and Brio and Brio Vista, these
Right.
very nice high-end fine dining restaurants in Austin. We knew that he was going to leave his previous restaurant and wanted to open a trailer before anybody else, knew that. And so we had already pitched the idea of him setting up here, and it's, just been a very good fit
Right.
because we can, essentially, one of the other, corollaries to that is we run the whole shop more like a large restaurant wine list as opposed to a small retail shop, because
Right.
we're always choosing for wines that will go well with food as opposed to kind of standalone or giant
Right.
domestic big reds. We still have some representation for things like that,
But it's the food and the pairing,
Yeah.
and complimentary.
and we're going to tend towards higher acid, lower alcohol, lower tannin wines. So it's great because people can come in and say, I've just ordered, this from the truck, and then we can point out things that would work well with it. And, people have learned that we're able to do that. So we have, which was our goal, to have lots of people who come by 2 or 3 times a week and say, I'm making this at home for dinner tonight. What can I get for $10? What can I get for $15? What can I get for
Right.
$20?
So you're
And we can
like
pair
a
it.
little personal wine, whatever the
And
word is.
that's what we want to be able to do for people, and that's one of the things we try to communicate as well. When people are like, why don't you have a case of the month club or something like that? We can, on the fly, because of the fact that we know all the wines that are on the shelves, put together a custom case for you very easily. Once we learn your tastes, you can give us little pointers as to what you want. So we have lots of customers who just call in and say, I need a case for my cellar, I need a case of red to drink, I need some kind of poolside whites for the summer, things like that. So as we start to learn individual customers' tastes, we can put together cases without much input from them, because we have a good idea of what they like. And we can also, because of the fact that we're not particularly beholden to having any of these wines stay on the shelf for a million years or have a huge depth of availability, we can take a little more risk in terms of dealing with oddball varietals or varietals that you wouldn't be expecting to see in a particular region or maybe in a particular style.
The other quick thing I was thinking about is that you've got wines from all over. I mean, you've got an interesting selection. I think we got Uruguay wines, is that correct, as well?
Another one-person importer, David Mayfield, bringing wines that the French Basque had brought from, just north of the Pyrenees, around Mataran into Uruguay, and that's, like with you guys, one-person importer who has a very small book, but we carry multiple wines from him. So it's things that aren't going to be seen on grocery store shelves or bigger.
And that's the best part about it, is you come in here and it's an experience from the moment you walk in to buying the wine, meeting you guys, and having some food. So I appreciate it very much. Thank you for sharing a little bit about East End Wines with us. And this is Sam.
Pleasure.
I am Lynn
Thanks.
with
Come
Martin
see
Russell
us.
Imports, and come on by.